Our parsha Vayikrah, the opening parsha of the book of Leviticus, tells us about the korban chatat, the sin offering. The sin offering was brought by somebody who inadvertently committed a serious transgression, a negative commandment that carries with it the penalty of karet, spiritual excision, except that the person didn't do it on purpose. They did it by mistake. What would it mean by mistake? So, for example, they ate chaylev. Chaylev is the forbidden fat of animals, of cows and sheep and goats. It's a part of the animal that we do not eat and carries with it very severe penalty. If a person ate it thinking that perhaps it was something else, or they didn't in fact know that it was forbidden, they would have to bring a korban chatat, a sin offering. The same was true, for example, if a person inadvertently broke Shabbat. They knew that today was Shabbat, but they didn't realize that the activity that they were doing was prohibited on Shabbat. They did it, and then afterwards they became aware of it. They would have to bring a korban chatat. And this was a particular animal. It was brought to the temple. It was slaughtered. The fats were placed on the altar, and some of the meat was consumed by the Kohanim. Now, it would seem to me that to a certain extent, the word sin has been expunged from the English language. You hardly ever hear a person speaking about sin, perhaps outside of religious Orthodox Jews, perhaps religious Christians also. People don't speak about sin. Sin is an uncomfortable word. It conjures feelings of guilt. And we live in a society that's very much about victimhood. I may have done something wrong, but it wasn't really my fault. I am the victim. I was raised in a family that was a dysfunctional family. I was raised in a community that's full of gangsters. I wasn't privy to have good education. Nothing is really my fault. It's all inadvertent. I don't take responsibility for it whatsoever. Comes along in the Torah and says, no. There are times that you have to take responsibility for your actions. And in the cases that I mentioned, the person didn't eat the chaylev on purpose. They didn't break Shabbat on purpose. They wouldn't have done it if they had known. But that's the problem. They didn't know. Their ignorance is not an excuse. They should have learned. They should have known better. Before they put that meat in their mouth, that fat, they should have asked, is this permitted? Is this kosher? Is it not kosher? There is a certain degree of negligence. And Kohelet, Ecclesiastes, King Solomon says, Ein tzadik ba'aretz asher ya'aseh tov v'lo yecheta. There is no righteous person on this earth who does only good and never sins. We all commit sins. But that's okay. And we have to take responsibility for it. And the Torah gives us this methodology of bringing a sin offering. Today that we don't have a sin offering, in many cases one can pray, one can learn the particular details of the sin offering, and one can give charity and try to do tshuva, repentance. But one has to take accountability and responsibility for one's actions. We're not always victims. We have to live up to what we have done. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.